G'day, Stu here from UAVfutures, and today, well, it's not actually Sunday, but you guys are watching this on Sunday, maybe Saturday if you're in the States, but this is the Sunday question and answer. These are some of our favourite videos to do. I'm in Grumpy Trev's studio, and what these are, if you're new to the channel, drop your questions down below. Every week we go through, or every second week I should say, every week we go through, we pick out some of our favourite questions to answer and sort of talk back to you guys and interact with the community. Now, a massive shout out this week to, who's our sponsor, Trev?
Armaton.
Sponsor to the guys over at Armaton Quads, because they are absolute legends. They're hooking us up with a chameleon frame, and then on top of that you're also getting a $100 gift voucher for the winner of today's question, so $100 to spend at their store. I'd also like to say too, Armaton makes some of the best quads out there. They are a massive player in the industry, and I'm sure so many people can agree. I fly a chameleon, Trev flies two, you've actually got two chameleons, and for all those other people out there, drop some comments down below. I'm going to leave a little, like, my first question will be pinned down below. If you've had a good experience or you've heard good things about Armaton, put it in the comments there. Let the guys over at Armaton know that you appreciate the support that they're giving this channel, because they're giving us some stuff to give away. So anyway, with that out of the way, I'll provide a link down below as well if you want to go check out the Armaton website. So yeah, massive shout out to those guys. But what we should do, let's get on with the questions and jump right into this week's Q&A. Now, Trev actually helped me pick out some of these questions this time. So this one's from Tiny Pirate. What's the riskiest or sketchiest flying you and Trev have ever done? You want me to go? You go.
Oh, you can go first.
I would say, as far as sketchiest goes, I tend to really, after flying around with Grandpa here, who people need to tell me I need to stop doing all those old people jokes, maybe in the future. But as far as sketchy flying goes, I never really do it around public places or where someone's going to get hurt or anything like that. Probably the worst that I've done where I'm worried about losing my drone would be where I'm flying out over the ocean a little bit or something like that, over some salt water. But yeah, other than that, it's just risking maybe losing my quad out over the beach. What about you, Trev?
First started many moons ago. I had a TBS 450 frame all set up with everything on it, gimbals and cameras and stuff. It was its first maiden flight, and I had a flyaway. Just disappeared into the mists. So much for return to home, which nothing worked.
There's Trevor's phone. Nothing but professionals here.
That actually flew through some power lines. It's quite a good video to watch, actually. So
I've actually seen this video. I'm going to leave a link. There should be a little card that should pop up here. Yeah. If you want to go check that video, that shows where Trev's flyaway is that went through the power line. You can actually see the braiding as it flew through. That's how close it was, all flying on its own. Yeah. Alright, so this one's from Matty G Beast. How do you prevent running out of battery on your camera gear? You seem to be pretty good at it. Well, that's actually a bit of a dig, I think. I wonder if Trevor chose this question because last week, usually, what have we done this week, Trevor? I put a new battery in, I've cleaned the SD card, we've got a new battery in the mic, so everything's ready to rock and roll. I guess, how do I prevent running out of batteries in my camera? I just cop junk from it from Trevor, and now I'm kind of paranoid about missing it. It's been so many times.
Did you press record?
Yeah, yes, actually.
Turn the microphone on?
Yes. So this one's from Alex Stuffo, and I should apologise for all the names as well. We should probably get on and actually start talking about some proper quad stuff. Hey Stu, do you ever get bored when you fly the same track for 30 packs? I do. What do you do to keep it fun and exciting?
You want to design a good track, that's probably your biggest problem.
Yeah. We
have a really good track, and we do change it every now and then. Try flying the other way as well. Once we go through about half a dozen packs, we start to get our eye in, and we just go harder and harder and harder. We've never been bored on the tracks that we have. So design a different track.
Yeah, I would say definitely if you've got a good track that flows really well and feels great to fly, once you get those first 6 batteries down, excuse me, you want to get like another 20 down. You just start going faster and faster. You just, like Trev said, getting your eye in, finding those lines, finding where you can push it, smashing that throttle, and you can just feel the lap time shrinking. You're going quicker and quicker, and it's just like, it's really exhilarating, and for me, that's what I love. I love track flying. I don't love racing so much because I just want to keep flying the same circuit. I want to perfect it and just work on those lines and feel myself improving, and that's what I love. So I guess I just don't find it getting boring at all. Yeah, I would say Trev's advice is really good there. Design a good track where you can push it, and maybe if you want to get like a TBS lap timer or something like that, if that's what you're into and you need that sort of extra motivation, maybe look at getting into like getting a little timer so you can see just how fast you are getting. This one's from Fred Balsam. Hi Stu, what's the hardest part about creating all of your YouTube content? I work full-time and I can't imagine being able to do what you do with the little time I have left over. You absolutely hit the nail on the head there. It's all about the time management. So for me, it's difficult, you know, with like working and a new family and all that sort of jazz, and then finding the time. And I couldn't do it if I wasn't passionate about it. And if I didn't love it, I wouldn't be able to do it. So yeah, the hardest part is definitely finding the time. And yeah, that's probably my biggest part, is finding the time. What about you, Trev? And my laptop's rubbish as well. It takes forever. What about you, Trev?
I reckon the hardest part about it's working with Stu.
Yeah. Anything else?
Look, yeah, putting content up's always hard, and there's a lot of time involved in doing it. So I reckon the worst part's the video editing. That just takes the longest.
Yeah, editing sucks. I'm not a fan of that.
You know, if a 4 or 5 minute video can take you an hour or more to edit, so you can imagine how much time Stu puts in for his. He does talk a lot though, doesn't he? But he puts a lot of work into it, and it can take a long time. Something
that I actually think that people don't realise too, it's not like there could be an hour or two just on the thumbnail that you're making, or writing the description, making all those links. Like there's so much extra stuff even after the video that you need to take care of. So this one's from Josh Hodson. Stu, if you'd never got into FPV as much as you've done, what hobbies, pastimes would take up all your time? What about you in the past, Trev? What did you do before FPV?
Well, I used to do a lot of four-wheel driving. That's probably about it. Used to go bush all the time, and really would have loved our quads back in those days. Exploring electronics and stuff, but this is just so much fun. Well, this kind of combines your stuff. Yeah, it does. It's a bit of everything, and this is probably the most exciting we've done for a long time. So yeah, I definitely think that this hobby for me is like the next step of what I used to love. So I used to spend a lot of time playing video games. I think a lot of people in our hobby would play some video games. These are just like an extension of that. If video games for me, like just little bit scratch that itch of I want something challenging, creative, where I can push myself and I can learn, and I can also, you can't really explore new places, but this stuff, FPV, it's like totally consumes all of those things that I loved about video games, but pushes it even more. So you can get out new places, you can feel your skills develop, you're learning heaps, you're building, you're being creative, making videos and meeting people in real life. That's sort of like the extension. So I really liked video games in the past, but nowhere near how I feel about the passion that I feel about FPV, which is exactly why I do this stuff, because I want to give this feeling back to other people. I want other people to love FPV as much as I and Trevor loves it as well. This one's from John White. Hey Stu, I'm always jealous that you get your hands on all these drones and try out and refine your preferences with. It made me think of a weird question. What is the worst FPV drone for the money you've come across so far? Are there ever any so bad that you don't even bother to post the review? You want me to go? Yeah, go. Yeah. I would say this is something that people, like, I think my viewers sometimes don't understand just how many emails I get about bad quads, about people, like from vendors out there who want me to review them on the channel. I would say there'd be at least one a day where someone's like, Stuart, can you please review this? And it's absolute junk. It's not the stuff that I'm interested in. As far as the worst one, I would say the Valkyra Runner or something like that. It had like plastic arms, it flew terrible, and it was marketed as an FPV racer. That thing, what would you, sum that up for me, Trevor, with some, why would you say that? It was yeah. But that quad was absolutely terrible, and I get so many emails asking, can I review that stuff? But that's just not the stuff that I'm interested in, which is probably why you'd see most of my reviews, they tend to be like the 6, 7 or 8 range, and I guess that's how Trev rates them, in that positive place, because that's the stuff that I'm excited about. I want to get good drones on the show that I'm excited about. I don't want to review those rubbish ones. Look, there has been some rubbish things, the TS195 or whatever, but generally I try to pick the good things that I'm excited about that you guys are going to want to see as well. Real racers, not those toys, or, you know, I even get things like people asking me, can I review car light bulbs and all this sort of random stuff. It's ridiculous. What about you, Trev? What's the worst one that I've said yes to, that we've taken on board and flown around? I'm glad you asked that question again, because the answer was that long I didn't know what it was. It's hard to remember the bad ones, but the latest one we had was a few weeks ago. What was that thing? The awesome... the awesome TS195. Yeah, that was a real piece of crap, that thing. I mean, I didn't even get to fly it, and I was really lucky because it...
Yeah, I did smash that one up into about 100 pieces.
Yeah.
We'll leave a link to that video up there, so yeah.
Yeah, look, sometimes you get some quads that just aren't worth reviewing, and they just don't make the cut, I guess. That's probably the best bet.
So this one's from Max Lundestom. I hope I said that right. Hey Stu and Trev, it was some time ago you both did the Wizard recommendation video, and both you and Trev had said in various other reviews that this is better than the Wizard. So my question is, what is the best starter quad for you new guys? And will you please make an updated best budget package video? I'm going to say the best budget video, like that $200 one, that's still well in date. The $99 build, there's some upgrade versions there. The goggles are fine, the radio's fine. So I think the hobby hasn't progressed too much further to make me need to redo that video. But in terms of like the Wizard, the original Wizard, we're talking about the X220, like the 2016 version. That thing, when we reviewed it, was super cheap, and it had some like new stuff like Bell Heli S, ESCs, all that stuff that's standard wasn't standard back then, and especially on such a cheap quad. Nowadays, I would say that Wizard's probably worth only $100. But if you want to get like a good bind and fly, recently the one that really knocked my socks off, I'll leave the review above Trev's head, was the Fury Bee X215 Pro. So that little drone was absolutely performance packed, and for the money, I think it might have gone up to like $180 since that review, but that drone was definitely onto a winner. I was really happy with that one. What about you, Trev?
Oh yeah, that little Fury Bee, that was great. You know, it was so fast, really sleek, compact design, OSD and everything in it, which you didn't get in the Wizard.
Yep.
They've come a long way, so that's certainly that one above the Wizard now.
Definitely put some better props on there. We put some cyclones on there in the end, though. That did make a big difference.
Yeah, those props that come with it are really...
Yep. So this one's from Nitro. With there always being some newer and better stuff on the horizon, how do you decide to buy something and not feel like you got shafted when something better comes out in the shorter time?
Yeah, I can answer that one pretty easy, actually. Nice and sweet. Look, it's like buying a mobile phone. As soon as you buy one, someone's going to bring out a better one. It's always going to happen. It's just part of life. So be happy with what you got, fly it into the ground, then buy something else.
I think that's pretty good, especially flying it hard. And you don't always need to upgrade. Like, you don't need that stuff if you can't get past those skills. And I would say back in the day, when we first started, our quads by today's standards were absolute rubbish. You had constant oscillations, constant vibrations. They only ran on 2S or maybe even 3S if you were lucky. Things were super expensive, but I loved it all the same. And it didn't change my passion about FPV and my passion about flying around with your friends, because I loved it back then. And nowadays I'm just grateful for what we have. I guess I'm not always looking towards the future or anything like that. I would say just be happy with the gear that you've got and the experiences that you can get from it, because if I can love those quads back in the day that flew absolutely terrible, I'm sure that people nowadays with any of today's quads would be more than happy.
Yeah.
Matthew Bonafide. I reckon I said that pretty well. Bonafide. Maybe it's just Bonafide. I'm not sure, but being kind of an expert in the industry now, do you watch other YouTubers still about drones, and do you ever find yourself disagreeing with what you are viewing? Been a big fan for a while now. Awesome to watch someone who loves the hobby so much. So thanks very much for being a big fan, I guess. I love doing this stuff. I would say, yeah, I watch tons of other YouTubers out there all the time. Some I agree with, some I disagree with.
I don't agree with that.
Some I disagree with, and sometimes I disagree with Trevor. But the important,
I agree with that.
The important. Okay, let me finish this question. I guess for me, the important part is we're all human. We're all gonna have different opinions on the thing, and everybody has their own opinions on things they like, things they don't like. And I guess that's the beauty of having such a big community and so many reviewers out there. If you need to find that information, you can go out and you can source all those different parts, take all their ideas and sort of make your own informed decision, because everybody's got different opinions on what they like and what they don't like. And I guess that's something I'd really like about this hobby. If everybody loved the same stuff, I think it'd be a little bit boring. What about you, Trev?
Yeah, I agree with everything you say, but except that part where you said you're human.
Wait.
But other than that...
I disagree.
Yeah. No. Yeah, look, everyone's going to agree and disagree. I mean, that's a part of our makeup. So, but we're always right, guys, so don't worry about it.
Okay. What UAVfutures is always right. This one's moving on. This one's from Isaiah Harris. How do you know when you're ready to move on to another quad to push your skills, Trev?
Oh, sorry. Do that again.
He's fallen asleep.
Yeah.
How do you know when you're ready for a next quad? Most of the time, most of the quads that I fly on the channel are past my ability. So if you've seen my flying skills, and if you can fly faster than I can, you might be ready for some of those quads. But most of the time, I would say I still don't have the skills to push those things to their full potential. A recent one we did, the Copus one or whatever, I felt like that one was just at max for me. And I think a good tip to find out if you're ready, you are smashing that throttle all the time. You're really pushing it. Your batteries are coming down hot. And you are up like in those upper echelons, like the 90 to 100% of your throttle, and you still want more. Unless you're sort of flying with that around a tight little track as well, not just punch outs or anything like that. Unless you're doing some skillful flying around nice lines around a track, up in that topper part of the throttle, you don't need to upgrade. So unless you're doing that, you don't need to. Trev?
Yeah, look, I really agree with that. I can't add much more to that. If you find it's too slow, yeah, definitely upgrade. But you'll know if you're pushing that stick and it's not going anywhere where you want it.
Yeah, there's no point.
There's no point.
If you upgrade to a better quad, you're just going to be flying a better quad just a little bit slower. So there's no, unless you fly your one you have into the ground first as fast as you can, and then it's time to upgrade.
Yep.
All right, so this one's from Jetlock. Love the content, and as always, g'day. G'day! What advice would you have for someone that wants to start producing a quad vlog or a channel? For me, Jetlock, I would say, anybody out there, you have to be really passionate about it. I couldn't do what I do on this channel with all the time that it takes to put in there. You really need to make some time. I couldn't do this without being super passionate about it. I couldn't do it if I didn't love it. So my biggest tip, if you're going to start doing a channel, make sure this, even if it's not about drones or whatever it's going to be about, make sure that you love it and it's a joy to work on. Because if it's a chore, you're not going to want to do it. You're not going to be able to keep it up. And I guess that's what I've been really lucky with UAVfutures. I think that's why I've been able to keep doing it. And you know, we're putting out like 3, 4, 5 videos sometimes a week now. And I absolutely love it. And I couldn't make those content unless I enjoyed it this much. It doesn't matter where you start from. Like, I look back at some of my first videos and they are absolutely horrendous by today's standards, but I was still really happy with them. Don't worry.
You reckon they're any better?
Don't ignore Trevor. Don't worry about what other people are going to think about them. Just make something that you enjoy making, and I would still make this content even if I just had 100 subscribers that watched it, because it's just all about sharing something that you love and just get out there and get making it. And keep it regular as well. You don't want to make a great video and then sort of disappear, because your viewers will be like, where was that great video? Why did they stop making stuff? But just make content about something you love, and also don't worry about where you start from. Just do your best and enjoy it. Trevor?
Are you finished rambling?
Yes.
What was the question? It just went too long.
If someone's going to start making some content on their channel.
Oh, you know, just make sure it's good. People want to watch it and have enthusiasm behind it, as Stu just said. So that's the hardest thing, is getting good content.
And any tips for that? Like, how would you get better content?
Oh, I'm not really the one to ask for that. Ask Stu. He just answered that. So
okay.
It's just got to be interesting.
All right. Now we've got some other questions here. So this first one, oh, lost it on my phone. This one's from M. New. You both mentioned in a last Q&A that we'd rather spend the day ripping 30 packs instead of racing. I want to know more about how you take your batteries to the field. What do you do to balance, charge, maintain them on the go? Thanks for all the energy you put into your videos. It's helped me light my FPV passion. All right.
Well, we always take 30 plus packs to the field, and what we don't use, when we get back home, I think this is what you're asking, we discharge them back into storage mode, and the ones we have used, we also put those into storage mode. That is how you keep batteries good for a long time. If you don't do that, you keep them charged over an extended period, your batteries will just crap themselves, and you're not going to get the duration out of your batteries that you expect. You'll go from a 4-minute flight down to a 2-minute flight, or not even that.
And you won't have any punch either.
Yeah, no punch at all.
I would say, like, we don't do any field charging or anything like that. We take them out in a big fireproof toolbox. And then, yeah, anything that I don't use, I just bring home, put on storage charge. And, yeah, it's really important to look after your batteries, because not only is it going to cost you money if you've got to replace them, it can also be dangerous if you don't look after lipos. So you want to make sure you're always putting safety at the, the top of your priorities. Alla Ives, question and answer. Hi, Stu. I found my workbench getting messy so fast. What does your workbench look like, and how do you sort your spare tools and parts?
I can't believe you're working on an untidy workbench. You should keep it clean. That's
Trevor's got the word.
There's a bench under there, by the way, guys.
Trevor has the messiest. You've seen a bit of a tour before, but there is so much stuff around here that I don't think Trevor's ever cleaned up. So if he says he's cleaned up, he's either needs to do a better job or he's lying.
Can you see a space there?
Trevor has about one dinner plate size in about 1, 2, 3. In 4 benches, Trevor has about a 30 centimetre sort of circumference.
I do tidy up every now and then. If I can't find something, I have to. I've got no choice.
For me, I would say, look, if I'm in a build, yeah, it gets messy super quick, but I always try to clean up at the end of the day, or at least every second day, because for me, when I'm in the studio making content for you guys, that's when I'm the most productive, when it's sort of organized and a little bit tidy. I'm okay for it to get messy as I'm working on something, but at the end of the day, I like to sort of pack it up and if a project's finished, put it away and clean it up before I start on the new one. That's how
because your wife tells you to clean up.
She does not. Alright, so this one's from Penkial. I don't know how you say that. G'day, Stu. So I have a question for Trev. Why do you think Stu always uses his flat batteries? Much love. You picked this one. Much love to the channel. Keep the videos coming, man. I'm not even going to... We're going to just move on because I'm sure that's another dig about the camera.
Oh, I couldn't imagine that. Did you press record this time?
Yes, I did. Actually...
That was close.
This camera actually stops recording after 30 minutes, so we had about 30 seconds. So
that's
that was
just one question.
That was good. Moving on, Dan Mackay. G'day, Stu. Thanks for all your videos are great. I ask every week and never get answered, but what's the toughest drone in your opinion? I'm getting into the hobby and want to push myself on my drone. Eventually, I will get a nice, faster, lighter drone, but to start knowing I'll be going hard and crashing, what's a good rig that can take a beating? So that's a long question. I would say...
Don't answer it, because he said we'd never answered any others.
No, we're going to answer it.
Oh.
So I would say to Dan, look, there's like 1,000 comments, so if your question doesn't get read out, it's not that I don't read it, there is so many questions. So if you have a look on there after these question and answers, go back and look at last week's one and have a read. You know, if I was doing this, I'd have to do it live all the time if I was going to answer every single question. But to move on, I would say the toughest drone out there, in your opinion, what do you reckon, Trev?
Without a doubt, the Chameleon. The Armaton Chameleon, I've got 2 of those.
Yep.
And I have tried to break those numerous times. And they're just so tough. And the beauty thing is, if you do break one of those, they've got a lifetime warranty on the frame. $5 for freight, you get a new frame.
You've broke, not the Chameleons, I remember you broke some other pod, Armaton.
I've broken a 4-inch, but never, the Armatons I haven't broken yet, and they really are my go-to quad. I take 2. Just because I can't be bothered changing props sometimes, because that's all I break. Yeah, I would say definitely if you want a tough drone that's going to last a long time with a good warranty, you can't go past Armaton. I'm sure a lot of people can agree. If you want something that's reliable, going to last a long time with an awesome warranty, like I think it's, you send them, you email them when you've broken yours, and it's like $5 to ship you a new frame. So yeah, all around a really, really tough drone. Mine's been going forever. I'll flash a picture on the screen. This quad has like a forest living inside it. It's so dirty. Alrighty, let's move on. So this one's from Parts for Bettany's C. G'day from Canada. Well, g'day. I've been flying FPV with flying wings for a while now, but I've been thinking about getting a quad. I've seen all your reviews, listened to GT's ratings, by the way. Since I have most of the gear, I was wondering, is the Chameleon your still go-to drone, or is there a new favourite one? Well, it's funny, we sort of just answered that, so answer to that's on the question just above that. But
yeah.
For me, the Armaton, the Chameleon is still my go-to quad. I don't know about Stu. What do you reckon, Stu?
No, I'm going to actually say no. The Chameleon, though, that doesn't mean that it's not an amazing quad. At the moment, I feel like I have one sort of drone that I'm always testing out and sort of trying to push the limits out. The Chameleon is my go-to backup drone. So at the moment, I'm really liking flying the Talon, the Korea Rhea Talon or something like that. It does fly nice, but I don't think it's as durable as the Armaton Chameleon. And I know the Armaton Chameleon, if I've got a riskier spot or a longer spot, I'm not, you know, if I'm worried about fail-safes or anything like that, or I've got a spot that the quad might take a beating, or I want to do like a bit of a crazy trick or try something interesting out.
And that's every week.
I will always fly that, and it's very rare that I never leave home without the Chameleon. If I'm going flying, it's always strapped to my backpack. So that's probably, I would say, the Chameleon. It's not my go-to quad, but it's my first backup quad, and I'm always going to fly that because I always like it. Luke Frost, hey Stu, how is it, mate? Hey Stu, how's it going, mate? I'm going well, thank you. Do you fly much line of sight? Do you think it's a good skill to learn as well as FPV? You and Trev should show off your line of sight skills.
You wouldn't like to see mine.
Do you think
I can fly line of sight, and it's probably necessary to know a little bit about it because you feel of the controls. But other than that, no, my line of sight skills are pretty crap.
Yeah, I just like to line of sight it back. Like if I rarely have a crash and I have to line of sight it back, that's okay. Do a few little flips and that sort of stuff, but I don't think line of sight is really necessary to start FPV. Maybe good for like 10 minutes so you can get a feel of how much power the quad has and also a healthy respect. So when you see them in person without the goggles, like all that, you wouldn't want that near, you know, you don't want to fly it near people, so you want to make sure you're safe. And it gives you a respect of just how powerful and dangerous, if you treat these things the wrong way, how dangerous these things can be. So yeah, I would say it's good for a little bit, but it's not going to help with your FPV actual flying skills whatsoever. Now this one's from Tony. This is actually the last question. So Stu and Trev, do you agree with the upgrade everything trend that exists in the community, then spend an eternity on PID tuning when buying a ready to fly? I just get it out of the box, buy and charge and fly. Well,
that's what I do. If it can't fly out of the box, we're not really interested in it because use the guys that got to get them out of the box and fly them. And since Betaflight come out, it's been so easy to just grab a quad, bind it up, and fly it. And 90% of the quads we get fly really well out of the box.
I would say, yeah, 95%
even. Yeah, so, yeah, well, it's true. But, yeah, you don't have to worry about it these days. That's, so to answer that question, it was no, wasn't it?
Do you muck around with the PIDs?
Only if I get something that doesn't fly, which is not very often.
Yeah.
Because you have to, you've got no choice. If you reflash it and it doesn't fix the problem, then we'll stuff with this PIDs, but very, very rare.
So you said no?
Yeah, that's no. That sounded like you answering that question.
Yeah, so I would say, you know, I don't muck around with the PIDs or anything like that. Ever since Betaflight, quads nowadays fly so well, straight out of the box, and that's a really good thing. You know, you just want to pick a drone up, it's going to work first time out of the box, you don't have to muck around with any of that sort of jazz, because back in the day of, like, clean flight and before that base flight or open pilot, these quads flew horribly. Since Betaflight, it's just an absolute joy. And anybody who fusses over doing PIDs, I would say, unless you're like a top really, really professional pilot, I mean like the top 15 in your country, there's probably not any need. I know with my flying skills, I don't need to do the PIDs whatsoever. I'm more than happy to fly around with stock. Yes, it might make it a little bit different, but all those pilots who can't fly as well, I would say fly a little bit slower than us, but fuss over PIDs, they're just making excuses. You don't need to worry about that. Just get out there, get some stick time and get flying. PIDs don't make the pilot because things fly so well on stock nowadays. There's no, if you're fussing about it, you don't really need to.
Yeah.
Not saying it doesn't hurt, I'm just saying you don't need to fuss about it. Anyway, that was actually the last question, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Remember, every single Sunday, or every second Sunday I should say, we do these question and answers. We try and get Grumpy Trev in. We should probably try and get Crash Test Cal as well. But drop your questions down below because that's how you go in the running every single time to win one of our prizes that we've got on. So a massive shout out again to those guys over at Armiton Quads because someone's going to be winning a Chameleon frame and $100 in store to sort of help deck out their new Chameleon. So, Trev, who do you want to pick for this week's winner?
Oh, look, it's a pretty hard choice, but I think the one that asked about the
This is what happens when you get old, isn't it?
Okay. About do we agree or disagree with other reviewers that
a different opinion?
Yeah, I think that was really good because it just goes to show that everyone does have a different opinion, even though we're right most of the time. But we wouldn't be human if we didn't have opinions about products. So.
Alright, so that's going out to Matthew Bonfade, being an expert in the industry, lol. I don't know if we're experts, but yes, we do still watch other reviews and disagreeing with other views and all that sort of stuff. So, Matthew Bonify, definitely check your inbox, spam box, something like that, because I'm going to be in contact with you guys on how to hook you up with Armiton, get you your frame, get it shipped over. For everybody else, drop some questions down below. Go and check out that Armiton link because they really do make some fantastic stuff. They've been in the hobby for such a long time and they really do things right by the FPV community, and they have one of the best warranties, if not the best warranty in the whole industry. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Subscribe for more FPV related content. Thanks for sticking around, and as always, happy flying! Hang on. It might have gone flat at the end.
That You would have noticed that straight away.
Yeah, I would have. I was freaking out about it.
Yeah.
Microphone is not flat.